label on my dad. We got this belt here. It's all shadow damage. I watched 2 episodes of The Hawk. I mean, it's all right. It's just not as funny as it's like I was expecting something more like Eastbound and Down. It's more like that's not the right word, but oh. But I'm thinking, I'm like, if you could filter parses by race and all that stuff, dude, I guarantee you. Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, these other guys in my guild are good, don't get me wrong. But they get like 90, some of these elemental shamans and stuff get like 98 parses, and I'm like, there's no way I'm that much shittier than everybody else. You know, there just isn't any, it's just not possible for me to be that shitty. So I think if you filtered the shit by, plus innervate's another thing, you know, but if you filtered it by that, you would probably see that I have nothing to complain about. One of my things sold on eBay, so I got to get to the shipping store sometime this morning. And I got like a day. I got today's the last day. I didn't even see it till today. So I'm like, I have until this morning to ship the thing and give the person a tracking number. Am I walking or am I slowed? Walkie while I talkie. Had shitty luck on some of those fights earlier. I got tombed 3 times on Morgrim. 3 times, and 3 times I got fucking tombed. That was so lame. And then on top of that, on Lurker Below, I got knocked back like 3 times, 2 or 3 times. Like right as I popped my fucking cooldowns, I got knocked into the air. Like shit you can do about it. I was like, fuck. fucking other guy go? Oh, my vampiric things, yeah. The wrong thing resisted. Oh. Let me get man. Oh, he gets level 70. That's an elite. Don't need my help then, does he? Shut up. I remember this place being kind of hell on earth for a mage, you know? Trying to get through all this shit and keep pulling. Shadow Priest is just like a much safer kind of grind, really. Safer. Fur. 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 Safer. Get it? Fur. Safer. I said fur. Hey, there's a quest. I have to escort this guy out, I'm pretty sure. I do like how they have got all this stuff working now, you know, because you just run into people more often on like a server like Wildhammer, where my original server was. Doing quests late at night, you'd never bump into somebody at like 4 in the morning in the goddamn tombs here. You'd always. What time is it really though? It is exactly 4:01. Crazy. crazy. I'm pretty sure I've wiped on this before. Stuff fucking get brain cluttered with all the fucking shit. Leave me alone. Like, what button do I have? I don't have a blink. I don't know what to do without blink. Get fucking brain cluttered. Cabal Spellweavers? Are we in the same place? Is that what these are? Is that what we were just doing? These are Cabal Tomb Raiders. Like Lara Croft. Now Spellweavers are underground? No, they're over that way. Here's one thing I didn't do on this last character was Nagrand. I might actually go fucking just skip the rest of this shit and do Nagrand. I didn't do Nagrand on my mage. I'm already almost 66. I get to spend my other talent point. Let's get it. What is it, guys? Increases the critical strike chance. I guess we want misery. Respec when we get there. You're pretty respect right now. Well, just trying to get to this guy. Just trying to get there. Come on now. What level is Nagrand? Like 65-ish? Oh my god, I have a staff. That should be good for my, when I have a healing thing though. More rings? Like, all they give you is fucking rings for everything. I need you to leave me alone.
All prices here are reasonable.
Ooh, ooh,
Time to go.
'It's the Queen's birthday today. How art thou celebrating? What is I? 14 spirit shards. We don't have the towers either, so it's good to get that ring. I still wear it on my other character. Or I can't remember if it's the spell hit or the resist Brazil pin one. But really with this character, fucking just do a shitload of battlegrounds until you know what you're doing. This guy Boy SX. Now mind you, are we doing this heals? Mind you, that other mage fucking kicked me from the group yesterday and all that. Someone. I remember the first time I did all these quests, man, it seemed like all this shit took like way longer than it did this time, you know? Like my very first character, well, I was also very super fucking sleep deprived. Like my first character, I grinded for 4 days straight, didn't sleep. And I only got to like 65 and a half or like 66 and a half or something, and I'm like, I remember like time and space was distorted and everything, dude. And people were like, go to sleep. Go to sleep. I'm like, I'm not tired yet. I'm not tired yet. And when I woke up, my whole user interface looked like someone on LSD trying to set it up, dude. Everything, like my chat windows were like huge, like Hunter S. Thompson fucking did my UI. I'm fucking high on mescaline. Like, oh my god, I really did need to sleep. Yeah, I don't listen sometimes. No. Yeah, I know. Not, neither does my wife. I know, right? That character, dude. I don't know why it's so funny to me. Yeah, I know, right? I was just saying that same thing about my wife. I got more gear this go around too. I got blue shoes. I got a new helmet. I was just gonna be like, you guys fucking invite me and then kick me right away because the other guy. I even messaged this guy yesterday after that other mage kicked me, and then he ran up, got way out of range, blocked, and I'm like, no other person was going to do shit, you know. And then I guess somebody else buffed or something. I didn't have a heal up or anything. There's no way I got aggro, or if I did, I was like, he said stack. I'm like, last time we did this, you said stack. You didn't say to on stack, and we all almost died. You know, like stack is one thing. When do you want me to not stack then? You know what I mean? But and then I messaged this guy. I told him, I said like, yeah, that guy fucking pulled. Not to mention he got into an ice block and then got insta-gibbed by all the ads, right? I'm like, no amount of me not stacking had anything to do with that. At the end of the day. Well, I'm gonna fly to Zangarmarsh and heal these buffoons. Baboons. I really wish I knew, man, what the future held. Me too. What was the guy's response when I said, he said, fuck you. I said, F you, and then kicked me, and then ignored me. I'm like, why are you so mature about this shit? I don't need to curse anybody and all that. You guys are all mages. Where are you from? Right, you're interrogating this guy because he's wearing a turban. Where are you from? It's a turban you have on? One, two, three, four. Oh, look, this guy's got some level 7, like some level 60 gear. shit water.
It's not ready.
I never know if these people are just fucking with me or not, dude. I really don't. Because they always talk like Chinese people, and I'm like, are you guys really Chinese, or are you just fucking with me? He's quite the distance away there.
That's still recharging. Which one he's pulling?
I guess this is good. Experience. I don't think you can AoE pull. Well, we did pull AoE pull mana tunes rather. New gloves. Oh shit. These people, dude, I swear. I don't believe these are people that are. I don't believe these are Chinese people. There's like one of these people is like one of my shithead friends trolling me. Chinese people don't even exist. Actually, now that I think about it. that I wish I had more to talk about. Trying to think about how to get these stable coins off of the regular thing and into something so that your guild needs you. It says, did you kick the other guy? Like, Catrid. Let me guess, you're all somehow Chinese at the same time? I don't believe you. Give me my fucking holographic Charizard. Look at that. Maybe they are Chinese. That guy's got a pack of naked dwarfs following him around. Looks like it's fucking. Never mind. George R. Martin. George R. Martin. Come on now. Come on now. You give a guy extra credit for that one, please. Made me laugh. I am praying to God that somehow something soon happens, man. I pray. Ooh. Reset until we find a person so we don't get ganked out here. Is it Chelsea? Is that really Mike Tyson, dude? Did he get... This picture's got to be photoshopped. There ain't no way, dude. He got that... There ain't no way he got in that good of shape since the Jake Paul fight. And he was in really good shape then, but... He must be on a fucking all cocaine and milk diet to get that skinny. He's not even skinnier, dude. He's bigger, too. There ain't no way that guy... That's not... There's no way. That's not photoshopped. Crazy. Unless it is, and... Yeah, well, that retard's bedroom's still cleaner than yours, dude. That retard's got a clean bedroom. To them, though, that's like when... That's like... That's fine with me. Every time a retard cleans his bedrooms, like he won the presidential election, though. You know what I mean? They're dopamine centers and stuff are not where ours are. So, like, every time they do something, they, like... it's Christmas. You just won the presidency on Christmas, right? Every time you fold your bed and make your room clean. So, yeah. I can imagine why it is they enjoy cleaning so much. And I'm only assuming, because I'm sure there are some dirty tards too, but... You know what I mean? Should be a reality show. Yeah, another mage. Well, we can summon. Unless there's a whole bunch of meanies out here. In which case. Healer, healer, healer. Tank. One more mage. We can bring it, like, it really doesn't matter. We can bring just a tag along for this shit. 2 mages, frostbite should be enough. Although, actually, it's probably better if we get a warlock. They don't have seed yet. A warlock. Crazy. I thought they got 64. Does make sense. Do we run around with just 4? Or we can pick up any random thing. We don't really need healers. We can do. If you just want to fill the slot with someone. So are we doing it with just this many, or can this guy tank? Are you sure? Are you gonna be able to pull and stuff? I guess really all he's gotta do is not die or whatever. What does that mean? guys offline. All these people aren't Chinese, dude. Chinese are, until I meet one, figments of my imagination. I'm in the middle of fucking Zanger Marsh. I'm trying to get to Negrand. Hearth there, fly there, shit. Yeah. How many times are these guys gonna invite me to this fucking group and either kick me or leave immediately after? In the middle of fucking leveling. I don't need to be distracted with your guys' bullshit. I'm trying. Trying to. My Void Reaver parse, dude, I don't understand how a 1600 DPS is only a 72. You know what I mean? But I think if you could sort it by... Yeah, I don't know. Jerk offs. Oh, now my whole map is littered with things. Good. There's all sorts of shit now. See? All the quests that we really needed to do. That's crazy though. They sacrifice a Shadow Priest. You should. I really think I should just play my goddamn Shadow Priest. Because you gotta think, that's like Warlock damage too. You know what I mean? I'm like. I love playing my Mage more than anything, but. But you gotta think, that's the Shadow vulnerability. 10% damage to Shadow. Like, we're. Not only is the guy not doing damage, not mana battering, but also you're losing out on 10% to Shadow damage for Warlocks. Hey, look at that. But then it's like, well, then doesn't that they'd probably want me to heal, and I fucking don't know shit about healing. But in the name of like actually getting shit done though, like the fact that we have to lose a Shadow Priest every time, like why aren't we recruiting a healer so we can not do that? Grannies. I don't want it to seem like I'm giving up on my Mage. I proved my point today though, you know. But I would think whatever tries to help the raid the most, you know, Shadow Priest would be great, but then I have to get all these attunements done and shit, like we're reputation grind, it would just take fucking forever. But whatever. I might try to get it geared up enough to get some loot sponge, some SSC and TK shit for a while, and then prep my Shadow Priest for Sunwell. Oh, guy, don't do it to me, guy. Palm Pyro Mage. Run around fucking PvP gear. I've never seen. It's all cheeseball because there's not enough people that know what the fuck they're doing in arenas, more than likely. Because Palm Pyro Mages were not a thing. If I had to guess at guys on a 5v5 team, although he had just regular PvP gear, it didn't even look like he had shoulders or anything, but he had the weapon, so it's probably from a 5v5 team. I was like, the successful number of teams on 2v2s or 3v3s as Palm Pyro during retail was like a non-existent composition. It was a gimmick. It's a gimmick spec. I should have silenced and stripped his buffs there, but I forgot I had that. Really, I thought I shielded thinking I was gonna block it. I'm like, not playing the right character. Fucking people. Oh, I don't know what I'm laughing at. It'd be impossible for me to explain. It'd be fucking crash test dummies, dude. I swear. Crash test dummies. God damn it. All I'm doing is walking around, guy. You fucking serious? Let me be. That shit's retarded. Come on now. I do better on a Shadow Priest at 65 against a Warlock. I'd have been dead on my Mage by now. 2 debuffs. Are you fucking kidding me? Please leave me alone. Like, you really, I would understand if I were level 70, but do you really feel good about yourself ganking somebody that's level fucking 65 just trying to level? Really? Fucking ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourself. Period. Warp slicers. These fucking people. God damn it. I thought I said I was going to go to Negrand to level. Why? Oh, because I got bags full of goddamn, like, moss and stuff. I hate how much garbage they make these things drop. So, like, I understand some of the stuff you vendor and all that, but god damn it. fucking I delete one thing. I got goddamn Magikarps in my bag. I'm playing Fortnite, dude. I got my. You always see the kid on TikTok. He's like he's on the phone with his brother or his friend or whatever, and he's like, "I got my bag of Doritos. I got my Mountain Dew, dude, and I'm logged on Fortnite." Yeah, right. Ain't that what it's all about, though? I'm sitting here waiting. Ain't that what it's all about? Super funny. Super funny. 4 bars into this level. Well, now. God damn it. Oh, get rid of the wool cloth, Morty. Ditch the wool cloth, Morty. Yeah, and I have to think, man, if there's anybody that's got their goddamn steering wheel of death's head, like having him do shit and like stuff that he might not normally do, not to say he's impressionable, because I don't really know, but anybody that has his in his sphere of influence or immediate influence, or like the only reason anyone is trying to compel him to do anything is because they're trying to cover their own tracks for some criminal behavior or something, period. That's the only reason why they would be trying to get him to crash and burn something, because at some point in time, like, they don't give a shit whether or not Def succeeds, and that's fucking that's like the worst thing ever, because he's like one of the few guys that really does deserve to succeed, right? And if he's intertwined with these people that I don't know, man. The guy I watched personally with my own 2 eyes, the guy seemingly legitimately to develop something I'd never seen before over the span of like a 16-month period or whatever, or more now. So I'm like, it's crypto. There are some like no good people for the most part. Everybody's aware of them, but I hate the idea that like any of these people pretending to be his friend. And one of the things I raised issue with earlier was that, and I don't know if I have a reason to be pissed at the guy or not, but the guy Evan, it seemed like was one of the people that and I'm just suspecting this. I have no proof, but other than the fact that they're all from Canada, like I personally spent fucking $30 on Minecraft to go see what this realist thing was about. I'm like, well, these guys are that close to death. I need to figure out like what it is that they're really about, if anything, right? And I log on the server, Ghost Town. I'm the only person logged on. These people, they cite this, if I had to guess, imaginary group of people, venture capital firm or whatever they say. Is the Five Horsemen capital a real thing, or is it just like, it sounds cool, you know, like, it sounds like something a bunch of fucking dipshit teenagers came up with. Like, no truth, not a shred of truth to it, right? More than likely. And because I can't find any reference to them online, and then you get to like probably get to interrogating or asking questions about it, they go, well, that's like our unofficial, like we call ourselves that, you know. It's like, oh, okay, right, exactly. It's always some shit like that, isn't it? Looks like a scam to me. And they're like, well, we're waiting, and we're like, okay, maybe. Until then, though. And then I see that the other guy, the developer or moderator for Leah, which developer in a very loose sense, if you wanted to actually like rewrite the definition of the word, would be the only way it qualified, I'm pretty sure. And he said, or you know, he was always the guy that was like, you could just tell had that kind of just bravado or arrogance that you just knew was going to be a problem at some point in time. So, that being said, um, I hope it was on good terms. I hope it was for the best, but I don't know. You know, I just noticed he didn't have a moderator earlier when I went through the chat. And I also noticed that there's 2 Daryls, which worries me because That's a moderator, and there's two people. I'm like, did one of these guys fish a seemingly legitimate looking credential to try and like eventually fuck the chat over? You know what I mean? How they sit quiet for months and years if they need to. But there's another person in the chat named Daryl Ayo, which he's from Nigeria. You know, the guy I actually see his thing on TikTok or X rather. He's from Nigeria, and I'm like, you know, which is not to say a red flag, but you know what I mean, like pay attention kind of shit. Um, you know, it is something to pay attention to. Something that's about all I can say about it, right? That being said, though, I'm like, well, what is a red flag is that there's two people with the exact same name and they both have moderator. Now, if he's got two accounts, that makes sense, but I would say, like, in a if in a community, whatever you want to call it, like, yeah, I would say you just need like one account, because that's just an open door there for someone else to step in, and you know what I mean. Just too much confusion. Wires get crossed, things happen. One account, it's like two accounts means you're twice as likely to get compromised, you know. So I was kind of concerned about that. I mentioned it to Def earlier. I was like, yeah, I don't know if anyone knows this, because you would scroll through the list, you'd see it once and not pay attention to the fact that no, there's two people that have like nearly the exact same name, and they're both moderators. And I'm like, well, if it's two accounts, that's fine, but I would prefer it not to be done that way, just because it's a vector. It's an opportunity for somebody else. Wires get crossed, you know. It just happens, you know. Kind of thing happens, and so I seen that earlier. I'm trying to think of what else there was. Yeah, but I noticed Evan of all people, and I get the impression because Daryl's like 20 years old, dude. He's like 19 years old or something. I don't know how old Evan is, but he seemed to be the guy that, if he was tied in with the realist people, then those people don't like me, and I give a shit less for asking questions like, well, you guys say all this shit, but then where, push come to shove, where is any of it? 2 years, like, talk about vaporware. You guys have spent all this money and had a coin with a market cap of like $50 million at some point in time, and what's provided so far after 2 years of development or more is a Minecraft server with no players and a website and no instructions on how to even install the thing, you know. And I even asked some of the guys, like the lead developer, I said, can you tell me how to do, like, I've never played Minecraft before. Can you tell me how to install this? And he ignored the shit out of me. You go to the chat, though, there's tons of people in the chat. They'll jump down your throat as soon as you say anything. Yeah, I don't like these fucking people, dude. In all reality, I really do not like these people that do that kind of shit. It's like, I liken it to, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like having like foreigners rule over you. You know what I mean? Like lawless foreigners trying to govern you specifically, like a free American. You know what I mean? You're like these foreigners. That's what they are, more than likely. In a lot of cases, like sitting there eating off your fucking plate, not wanting to work for this shit, and making your life difficult. And trying to tell you what you are and are not allowed to do. You know what I mean? So I'm always against that kind of thing. And I've got nothing wrong with foreigners. I just don't want to be told what to do by them. I don't want to be told what to do by anybody, but especially someone that's not from America. You know, that's just me personally. Go ask the Europeans how well that's working. You know, just having foreigners come mass migrate to their country and wipe their ass with their flag. Yeah, I'm sure they love it. But that's what it's like when you deal with people, right? A cluster of Nigerians pretending to be something that they aren't, or whatever. Not saying that that's Daryl or not, but like, well, it is suspicious. These realist guys have yet to provide anything. This guy Daryl was there every goddamn day, pounding the pavement, always fielding questions and filling people in. But then like these videos kept getting produced that looked like they cost like probably a few hundred, if not $1,000 of my dollars to make. Paid one of his friends, it looks like, and then try to label the project to look like a scam. And then that person has no longer has moderator and is gone out of the picture, it seems, right? Still in the chat, but then I'm thinking like, these realist people, one of the last things I said to Def was, and this is what concerned me, was that like the day that all the money dried up and everything, like he just had to shut everything down, was the day that like, but I can sit there and say like, correlation's not causation, right? But the day that I confronted the realist people is the day that he said he had to shut down Leah, which causation's not correlation. If he really wanted to try and hoodwink me in some way, shape, or form, he would have waited a week to do it, not just the same day. And so I can't necessarily say like, oh, those realist guys told him to do it or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. And if they did, you know what I'm going to do to these people eventually. um, Especially if they're giving him or myself a hard time. You know me. Everybody slips up somewhere, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, I can't necessarily make that my crusade for now, but it would hurt my feelings and it would piss me off to find out that Def had somehow was paying lip service to these idiots that don't mean him well. But he told me basically like, yeah, well, we started off kind of, and there was like a non-official partnership, and I'm like, okay, well, I told him, I said, like, it's getting to the point where these guys that don't mean you any well or don't mean you any good are going to start trying to ride your coattails, and they'll sit there and pretend like a percentage of your success is owed to them because they were there at the time, and they'll ride your coattail. Look, I've dealt with a jury of people, a baker's dozen of shitheads before in my life that have done this exact same thing to me. And only in the last 4 years was I able to shed all the dead weight and get these people out of my life total, you know, and that's not either, and that's like in a business sense, not in like the if only you knew, right? And just in a business sense, able to sever ties with some of these people that didn't mean me well, right? It goes beyond that, but yeah, but that's the thing is like I'm familiar with this dude. If he's really stepped to the plate here recently and shed some of these fucking dipshits out of his and done his best to exfiltrate himself from their sphere of influence or whatever, yeah, I'll be tremendously proud of him. Because this type of guys were like as soon as, and he's not a people pleaser, but he's a human, you know, he's a good human. So what good human sits there and doesn't concern themselves with what someone else thinks of them? Like some more than others, but when these people put on that goddamn fake clown smile and pretend to be your friend, you know, it can get to you whenever you don't, not to say meet their standard, but like, you know, people that you think are your friend, you know, find out they really aren't your friend. Yeah, that hurts your feelings, you know. And that being said, I don't know how much of that's going on or not, but apparently it seems like, at least in one case, between the last time I looked and now, at least one of these people has fallen to the wayside. And I don't know what that consisted of, but I hope I had something to do with it confronting these realist people, because they've all but completely recessed from crypto Twitter, and they were promising this thing, and they were talking about having funding or financing, and oh, well, the Five Horsemen really liked the work that we were doing, and they decided they were gonna. And then I look at like what it amounted to was a $12 a month Minecraft server with not one AI implementation whatsoever. That's it. Years and years. $50 million market cap at some point in time, right? Was a Minecraft server. So I'm like, yeah, I get the impression that this is a scam. And I'm like sitting there thinking like, well, you know, to be fair, our project is shut down too. But I'm like, yeah, but look at the goddamn mountain of work that was accomplished with half of the budget, if not less. You know what I mean? Like a mountain of work. Like shit I've never even seen before. You know, totally new technology has come from this thing, right? And so yeah, of course I'm going to have an issue with a bunch of guys that are going to sit there and go like, yeah, we just knew that Def could do it, you know, like after the game, like give up now, shit talk me, make his life difficult, and then as soon as it's a success, yeah, of course you're all there, and you're let me guess, you're the reason for his success too, nonetheless, right? That's usually how those people work. And then they start borrowing and asking to borrow money and shit like fucking Rob's stupid bitch ass. And I see Rob still a moderator. Like, I sure hope the guy's not anybody's relative or anything, because I talk an awful lot of shit about him, but look, if someone stole $25,000 from you, you would talk a lot of shit about him too. I know you would. I don't care if he's fucking the Pope's nephew. I could give a shit less, in all honesty. And I'd sit there and say, if we're on the same page, wherever you get your marching orders from, I know if we're on the same page, on the same team, in no way, shape, or form would your higher ups ever give you the authority or the permission to come to a community member and basically guilt trip them into paying their bills, right? You would be embarrassed. You would say, what, does this guy not have his shit together? You know what I mean? It's probably doesn't look good on people that have put him in a position, or he's found himself in a position where he's to be doing some sort of whatever it is, you know, like it probably doesn't look good on certain people to have some guy going around begging community members to pay to keep the lights on for their other, you know, for their project. You know, that type of thing would embarrass me if someone got caught doing that under me or on my watch or whatever. You know, I'd be like, fuck, you know, you knew better, you know better. You know, you can't always sit there and micromanage everything to the umpteenth degree, but you would sit there and say, like, you knew goddamn well that you were not to be going out and getting loans and maxing out your credit cards and other people's names and all that shit at some point in time. You knew that. You know how I know? Because for you to have made it here to begin with means that you got that message. You wouldn't be standing where you are if you didn't get that message. So to pretend like you didn't get that fucking message means you would be at the next bus stop of the next town over. You would never have made it here. You know what I mean? You would not have arrived at your destination without that crucial step in instructions. I know that for a fact. So, it is what it is. So at some point in time, somebody actually got greedy and actually tried to scam me and actually stole 25 grand from me. And that person is still obnoxiously close to a steering wheel of a car that I care so much about. So, the day will come eventually. But what that person doesn't understand is in the order of operations here that he knew that and agreed to those conditions before he made it to the step where he was put into a position of authority, period. I know that for a fact. You're not going to convince me otherwise. So had he not, so he knew better. You know what I mean? And, hands down, the guy knew better than to do that shit. Because he would not have made it to the destination if he didn't know that. And he didn't agree to it. It's just not possible. You know? So he took it upon himself. These fucking idiots, dude, I swear. Of the bunch, I have mixed reviews. Well, I don't have enough proof of anything to make an assumption about David. It seems weird. Seems a weird relationship. Not to say red flag, something to pay attention to. The exchange that all this money was laundered through, that after the accounts were hacked and everything else supposedly is a German exchange, and this guy's from Germany, has a Japanese website, claims to be from Japan, but his geotag on his X account is to Germany, right? So neither here nor there. That's not an indictment, but you know what I mean. There are plenty of smart Germans all over the world or whatever. Highly possible, you know, like whether or not the guy is the smartest con man ever or the smartest person ever, you know what I mean? Regardless, if he's the one actually doing the shit, I almost could care less, you know, but at the end of the day, I think the guy got paid pretty handsomely. Is it positioned that, like, yeah, well, you don't go to, like, not everybody goes to work for free, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So I get that, and I'm not making any accusation. I'm just saying that that's one thing I'm paying attention to, is that I don't know where this guy came from. How I was told that it all came to fruition is not something I'm here to divulge to anybody else, so I don't know how much I believe it, or if I do, I don't know how contrived it was. That being said, Rob's answer to this was, I believe, at some point in time, now I don't know for sure, but was for Def to pay out of pocket with what he had left to hire a bunch of his lawyer friends, which are probably qualified cybersecurity expert lawyers just like him, basically a bunch of dipshits that I guess know how to send an email to an exchange to get some sort of official answer about this shit. And I'm sure they all got paid for it too, you know, because like I said, nobody works for free, obviously, right? And like, I see the rigmarole, I see the racket, you know what I mean? I do. And like, why would you, like, lawyers to do this shit? Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't know. I understand that, like, early on, I really don't get it, man. I don't think that was a great decision. If it cost a shitload to do, and I'm sure it did, and these aren't real lawyers, and this is just people that know how exchanges work and have to know how to file some sort of paperwork. You know what I mean? Parading around as experts, just like Rob's stupid ass. So I'm glad to see Evans gone, because I would sit there and say like, well, I have no reason to not like the guy. I think he's a bit arrogant, and he probably could have worked harder to make something come to fruition, or make something tangible, or just something. You know, it's a sign of good faith effort. You know what I mean? Other than scraping together a few of my dollars and paying these people to make these shitty videos. At some point in time, the trailers for the features were really good and on point, and then they got to the point where they were coming out and they had spelling errors and stuff, and I'm like, you are trying to make this look like a scam. I don't appreciate this shit, and it's intentional. So, and if it was him, I'm pretty sure it was. Because at some point in time, and I cannot fault the guy for it, man, but these people always saying like, well, yeah, we're working on something big. We're partnering up with these guys and doing this and that. Like, we're behind the scenes. We're doing this. I'm like, there's a certain amount of like creative dressing up your thing to make it seem more professional or more important than it is. There's a certain amount of that's allowed, and then there's a certain amount that constitutes being deceptive. And I've seen people cross that line into basically bullshitting the community. That being said, I can't say that I've seen that from Def. You know what I mean? The people that kind of tried to make those promises, you have to be able to put people in a position where you can trust them to publicly state things without it crossing any sort of, not to say legal line, but potentially. You know what I mean? You get to promising a whole bunch of shit that you can't promise you can't keep. It's always a problem, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but bit of a status update on some of those things to try and just to keep an eye on, really. So, and what was the motivation behind the bit by bit hack? And I know it's like, well, the apples and oranges, one of those things is whatever. I think it's worth more than that, but whatever. And the point is, well, what did I say about the Bybit hack that's probably true about both? Probably one of these guys that Def knew had to get paid, and they had to come up with a way to do it. So they could part ways, one could exit and take their cut from whatever it was, and then Def would sit around and continue to develop the thing, hopefully finding somebody else with public interest. Yeah, that's my estimation, because that was what I believe the reasoning for the Bybit hack was like, well, someone had to get paid and they couldn't just pay them themselves, you know. So if he had like another silent partner at some point in time, and that guy's like, well, we already, we did our thing. Now it's time to, you know how there's always that like gut it, sell the scrap metal and get the fuck out of here kind of retardation, like that you can't even tell like the guy's built something different. You're like, no, it's all you know. Well, good, then you deserve to fucking, I guess, rot in hell, but miss out on the future then. If you can't see this as something special enough to go, hey, like, maybe we should shift course here to try and steer this thing on track instead of trying to wreck it, because at some point in time, like I said, Def being successful means that a bunch of these people that have been fucking around are going to have to be accountable for all the shit that went wrong. And they know that once there's some level of accountability for all the shit they did wrong, they aren't going to be a part of the crew anyway. You know what I mean? They already know that they're on their way out. You get what I'm saying? And they're like, so what do they care? It's like, so basically they're just trying to cover their own tracks for all the shit they did wrong. Rather, it crosses the line into any criminality, probably, I would say, yeah. and you know what I mean, versus them just not wanting to get found out for being scam artists. Yeah, so they're trying to compel Def to crash and burn this thing because they know the day will come where they'll have to be accountable for all the shit. And I guess Def has kept his hands and nose pretty clean in the situation because he's still here doing his thing, you know. What do you do when someone does that in a den of snakes, right? It's like, well, we all know who the snakes are. I don't think anybody's going to hold that against Def. It might take a time of disclosure, you know, and whatever, but what were his motivations? Why? What did these people tell him? Did anybody threaten him? Did anybody make his life difficult? I've had people do this to me, so I know how it is. Uh, like I know exactly what it's like to be him right now, more than likely. And all my efforts to try and get him to dox himself are met by Rob's resistance saying, and I guess I don't know how things are in Europe. Apparently they're like bandits running around cutting people's fingers off and shit, stealing their crypto wallets. But I told Def, I said, well, you know, there's gonna come a time where I feel like you're gonna have to dox yourself in some way, shape, or form. He's like, yeah, I'm totally cool with it. I'm totally cool with it. And then I kept asking. I go, well, you know, not to say it would make me feel better, but I think letting the community know, like actually seeing you publicly somewhat, and I'm like, I'm not necessarily pushing for a hard thing or whatever, but see your face without a name, maybe, you know, kind of thing. We hear you, we can't see you, kind of thing, right? So I was pushing for a dox, and he's like, well, let me talk to Rob about that. I'm like, oh, okay, then I'll go ahead and already tell you. I'm like, yeah, never mind, don't worry about it. You know, of course, Rob's gonna sit there and say, well, why? Because he's one of these fucking clowns that if it ever comes out what they did, he's gonna have to be accountable for it. And I guess of all these of the entire circus, he's the least crony. He's the least clown-like pieces of shit, probably. But he's the least egregious clown of the bunch, I guess. So he's the one that they placed forward to try and manage the thing. But in doing so, I mean, come on, man. Like, I can make the guy's life hell because I know I'll succeed through this, and I know my hands have been clean. I've got my nose clean. I have nothing to hide from people. That's why I'm a public figure. That's why I'll give you my address. You know, you can come visit me if you don't like the shit. Ask me questions, whatever. And that's why I said, so one person coming forward and doxing themselves stands to jeopardize this, like, den of snakes, cloak and daggers bullshit. It's bullshit. These people don't have any reason. Now, I understand Def might have had it put in his head by one of these guys that, oh, like, if you put your name out there, the French cartel will come and cut your fingers off or whatever and steal your crypto wallets. I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of horror stories on the news, so, okay, whether or not that's his true motivation for doing it that way or not, either way, he's been fed this idea more than likely by one of these people, and they only are doing it to try and scare him into some form of compliance so they can keep the steering wheel to his head. At this point in time, they know the guy has developed something that's got their attention, and currently they are trying to keep themselves from being found out by the public, if I had to guess. So they'll continue to send him on these crash missions, and they'll continue to make his life difficult until he slowly sheds all the dead weight. I think he's making efforts to do that, so that's helpful. If these were all Pokemon, this would be better. And that's like their standard operating procedure with that kind of thing. That's how they are. They know that they don't stand a chance in any real arena of like actual creativity or innovation. They know they're fucking useless. They don't have a one viable skill amongst the crew, right? The entire group of them can't fucking do shit. Yet they're the most enthusiastic about meme coins and this, that, and the other thing. Like, well, why? because it's a tool for you to use to fuck people over to make yourself wealthy. Yeah, no wonder you like it so much. It can also do all these things that people might actually appreciate too, you know. And they have basically got to the point where they got the person that they know has got everybody's attention, and they're trying to keep from being found out. Period. I guarantee it. So of course they're gonna sit there and steer him in the wrong direction. They're gonna tell him things that makes him doubt himself, and try to keep him distanced from the people that actually want to see this thing succeed. You know. And if he's made any tangible effort to get rid of these pieces of shit, man, then good for him. I hope so. I guess at some point in time, he had that X Spaces thing that was super awesome. AI Spaces, I have still yet seen anything else like it. And that was around the time, and like if I had to guess, someone bumped down on him and told him like, well, that you can't be doing that because we don't know how to do it, and we'll lose that way. And if we just create a good old boys network of winners, then none of us have to really work that hard, and we never really have to create anything either. So we all just eat for free, like a bunch of fat, retarded people. And that's the general consensus amongst Pumpfoin community members, right? That don't do anything too special, because then like there'll come a point in time where we all actually have to know what we're doing, and none of us want to do that. Nobody wants to do that shit. Trust me, they're a bunch of lazy idiots. This is the Tim Allen analogy. Remember I told you where Tim Allen's first day in the job, he works at a place that put like assembling screwdrivers or some shit, or bolts. They put bolts on things, and they all had this quota, right? And they would get like 25 of these bolts bolted an hour, like assembled these things. He worked on an assembly line, assembling some type of ratchet set or something, a spark plug factory or whatever. And their job was to screw in the spark plugs. And the fastest guy on the floor could do like 20 an hour. And then Tim Allen showed up on his first day, and he did like 30 or 40, you know, or 55 or whatever it was, like 2 or 3 times as much as everybody else. And they about stoned the guy to death for doing it, because what he did is he entered into a group of people that he proved that they were all just yoking the system, had no intention on working hard. They had like, this is your perfect, if you've ever seen the movie Extract, show up, just fucking hang out, kind of be lazy, watch the bottles go by like Laverne and fucking Shirley. You know, that was one of them sweet gigs that these people that don't ever want to amount to anything love, you know, basically a warm body to fill a spot, you know. And what he did, you know, upset the apple cart at that assembly line, needless to say. And like they fucking, I don't know if they threatened the guy, but if you read Tim Allen, the guy from Tool Time, right, his TV show, Home Improvement rather, that was his first job. And that's like his first run-in with like unions and all this kind of shit, you know, like the union cartel kind of. And one younger guy showing up, showing the boss that the rest of these guys are lazy idiots, was like cardinal sin number one, you know, because that's interfering with their bread and butter, which is just showing up to work and getting paid for being lazy. And that's essentially what DEF has done in crypto. Yes, it is. It's the exact same thing, I promise you. So instead of trying to outperform him or create something better, what have they done? Try to fucking bully him out of his position. Make his life hell, I'm sure. Try to crash him out themselves. Try to scare him into thinking like, again, whatever they have to say about me, I know it's not good. They give a shit less because I know I'm right, but I'm here for a reason, obviously. I don't just show up and like make a big production out of myself. And by big production, I mean like my name and like where I'm from, and put myself out there for people to be able to ask questions and see my face. And like, you can find my address online pretty easily. If you have a problem with anything that I've done, you know where I live. And that's, you know, since I have never fucked anybody over, I have nothing to worry about. So I hope we can get DEF on the same track when it comes to that kind of thing, because I get the impression these guys like Rob, and I said this before, the reason why is because, well, they're serial fucker overs, dude. They've just been fucking people over in crypto. Pump fund's just the newest way for them to do it. They've been fucking people over since they started, more than likely, which is why they can't be seen. Their face can't be seen. They can't put their name out there. And whenever I said, yeah, and I'll show you my ID so you can see, he goes, well, I can't do that for you because my work has me sign an NDA, which is already a violation of the NDA usually, sometimes can be. And so, yeah, I can't tell you my name. And he goes, in my professional opinion, I strongly suggest you not do that either. I'm like, I know this trick. You don't want me to do it because then you know you'll look like a fucking liar, period. I've got no reason to hide from these people. Tell me not to do it. Like, trust me, I don't need your expert advice on anything, period. So, I'm like, well, why? Because one person coming along and actually he said at one point in time, like, I need that fag's protection for any reason whatsoever. He's like, what did he say? He said, oh, we need to keep you protected. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna assume this is a lost in translation or a gap in communication. I don't need your fucking protection ever. So I'll bite my tongue for now, but if you knew what I've been through, prison, a place you wouldn't do well, I've never once had to ask for help, period. I certainly don't need some fucking diaper sniffers fucking help on the internet either. So I get upset about that kind of thing. It's like, what, you don't think I can stand on my own 2 feet, really? You don't know what I've been through. Yeah, I don't need your help or protection, trust me. It's like all just a fucking game with these people. Anyway, trying to get so upset about it, but it does bother the shit out of me, really. And that's one of those things that these people do, trust me, I already know. It's like, yeah, remember that time, like, all these, like, and I kept you protected, right, buddy? Right? Like, I don't need your fucking help. Like, it's an insult to pretend that I need the shit, really. You know what I mean? And if I needed help from anybody, it's not you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I take the shit personally. Bite my tongue for now because I'm like, I can't necessarily go jumping down people's throats every time they insult me at this point in time because, mind you, I don't know who's in the passenger seat, who's in the driver's seat. This guy might get worried. This guy might get startled or spooked and jerk the fucking car into the ditch. And then they both vanish. You know what I mean? I don't know. So I have to be very careful when I say and do things because I can't spook the driver. You know what I mean? Because he might sit there and vamp out, delete the accounts, tell Def that I'm doing something, or, you know, make some shit up and say, okay, well, now it's time for you to skip town. You know what I mean? And then they both disappear. So I can't necessarily do that as much as it takes some restraint not to. But when the day comes, though, I'll fucking have an opinion about all this shit. But right now, I guess I say, not that I need to play nice, because I'm a really nice guy. Right now I'm playing nice, nicer than I should probably, because I don't know to what degree this guy has his hands on the steering wheel of something. And I don't want to be the party responsible for spooking him to the point where he crashes it and burns it. And then everybody's looking at me like, why did you do that? You know, you could have just bit your tongue, and why did you have to go and do that? Yeah, it's not like you're sending dead fish in the mail or anything, but I don't need your protection, period. You know, and the shit's an insult. But no, who never knows, man. The guy might get to go figure out what prison's like himself if he keeps the shit up. I'm sure it's way better over in Belgium or Norway or wherever, but whatever. I'm sure to him it would be a nightmare. Guy just get creep vibes, dude. I do not like the guy. I wouldn't let him babysit. I wouldn't let him babysit Hitler's kids, dude. The guy is such a creep. So that's how much I dislike him and how much he's really rubbed me the wrong way. And like time and time again, I'm like, okay, well, I'm keeping track of all of this shit, mind you. So I don't know if I hear this thing, like say lost in translation, communication, whatever. There's a possibility that the way they speak, if he uses a translator, English isn't his first language also is another thing. So I got to be understanding of that kind of shit. But I don't know, man. I think the guy's just a creep. Not in a good way either. It's taken forever to kill these things. Well, that's my assessment of what's going on or what has gone on. I wish I had more facts, though. A lot of this is assumptions. But based on how people are and like, you know how they are. You know how people can be. They definitely don't want this guy to be center stage after what they did. God damn it. Yeah, so, well, hopefully, man, hopefully we clean house with them then. Because I don't know if that's got their names or not, but you get to the point where, yeah, no, if he should have, at some point in time, no loyalties to these idiots. And like time and time again, I'm like, not that I need to plead my own case to him, but tell him like, who's the guy? Like, I don't want to sit there and go like, well, you know, who's the guy that's been here for you since like day one about this shit? You know, not asking for nothing, just trying to help, trying to encourage you and stuff. I'm like, I'm not asking for compliance. I'm not asking for you to work for me. I'm not asking you for you to do anything, dude. I've been there with some people similar, you know. They're all going to want to eat off your plate, and when it gets to that point, everything you have and doubled is not enough for people like that. I've been through it. I've had people attempt to blackmail me. I've had people attempt to extort me. I've had people threaten to burn my home down. I've had people hold me hostage and hold me at gunpoint on numerous occasions, you know. So I get it, you know. If anyone's compassionate or understands, dude, I understand. Um, all you have, time, like, you cannot put a dollar amount. If you can make it, they'll spend it. If you can provide it, they'll fucking take it. You know what I mean? I've dealt with these people, dude. I know these people. All you have is what they want, and that'll never be enough, period. They start telling him, like suddenly he's not a good friend if he's not paying their bills and doing their fucking laundry and shit. Come on now. I got one more of these things to kill, dude. It's taking fucking forever. Mindless grinding. Yeah, but of all the bunch, I can sit there and say I have nothing tangible to complain about David. I don't. One thing that I said might be a little suspicious, but could just be the way things are, you know. It's a very specific space, kind of, you know, trying to develop, be a creator or developer, you know, this um, avatar AI and companion AI and all that. So I can't say that there's any red flags. I don't know. It could be wrong though. I've got no reason to think that though. For now, I hope it is, dude. Because like, it would be great. I need an add-on that shows me how much mana I'm getting from a Shadow Priest. So I can sit there and kind of track like mana per second from, and then find out like what can we do to optimize MP5 from a priest if possible. Oof. Yeah, I don't want to get all fire and brimstone, but the sky's all cloudy outside, guy. Looks nice out. I gotta get to the shipping store to sell, ship a thing, sell a thing. I already sold it. I need to ship it now. Oh, I gotta mail all this shit to my alt. My main. Feathers, I got feathers. Sucks the feathers are so hard to come by. There's an abundance of dots, not enough feathers. What I don't understand about ECC cryptography, you know, like elliptic. What does the C stand for? Elliptic curve. I'm tired. Is the final destination point like when you point double or point addition to the point where you do it like 500 trillion times or whatever? Is that final location there on the graph the key technically, or is it a combination of all the points that it passes through? Does that make sense? Like with the line on the thing, you know how it travels through the curve, right? Now they show the curve. I guess the curve extends off into infinity, right? So is the key itself the combination of points in which the line intersects the curve, or is it just the destination? If that makes sense. That's kind of the, like, not the destination, the end point, right? Is it just the start and the end point? You know what I mean? Yeah. What he said. What he said. Gotta get some more feathers. It's crazy. The other day I was about to say, I'm like, why doesn't Visa just use a card that pulls from pools of stable coins on Solana, and then like the very next day the news is like, the Visa network went down, and then like 12 hours later they're like, uh, Visa introduces a payment platform, or whatever, a credit card or some shit that is utilizing stable coins, right? So they're thinking like, if you could just get the stable coins not to cost anything to move from point A to point B, you know what I mean? Not to mention microtransactions and things. You're like, yeah, well, you're potentially talking about a future where some of these AIs communicate with one another, and quite literally, like 1/100th or 1/150,000th of a stable coin is required to do one call or whatever. You're like, yeah, at some point in time, the reason why I say that I think that they brought Tether off of Omni layers, because at some point in time it costs more Bitcoin than the transaction facilitated. So it costs $5 to send a dollar is not an economical model for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And as soon as they did that, the price of Bitcoin went up a whole shitload when they swapped Omni layer to Tether to Ethereum. So you're sitting there thinking like, well, same dilemma, but to a lesser extent as far as cost is concerned, because you're talking about paying 3 cents to transact whatever between two AIs for something that might be just a tiny micro fraction of a stable coin. You're like, yeah, microtransactions are not something that is, I mean, it can handle, but in an economic sense, you're like, yeah, if there was just a way to make the shit frictionless, then right, somehow, because you're like, rare rare use cases, instances, right, for now, but we have yet to really see it all come to fruition, so we don't know, you know, how much. This is all things that you could probably try to come up with an assessment for, that how much of the move towards decentralization and open source AI models is going to render the idea that microtransactions between agents is not going to be as prevalent as I thought, right? I think, but there's still going to be some of that, right? There's still going to be some frontier models that have proprietary weighted weighted AIs and all that stuff that only they have access to. That way, you can only use their AI through their system, so no amount of open sourcing a model similar, but to a lesser quality. You know, there's always going to still be a need and a market's desire, or a market's what do you call that? I guess desire. You know, the market's always going to desire a frontier model that whatever performs the best, kind of thing. You know, and when you find something that does perform the best, then suddenly the infrastructure that it's hosted on becomes worth its weight in gold. You know, because that's the only place you can get the shit, right? It's the only place you can get that you can use Fable is on Anthropic's infrastructure. You can't lease the software, you can't host it yourself, right? If I am I correct about that? I'm pretty sure I am. So no amount of like you know, it's like, well, yeah, there are good, I'm sure, open source coding agents out there, but apparently none of them are as good as Fable or Mythos, right? So there will always be a premium to be paid for that kind of thing, right? So that being said, that leaves the door open for there to be microtransactions between AIs, right? Because there always might be some part of that AI that needs to access an edge endpoint somewhere that has to access a frontier model that has no other. You have no other way to access it. Basically, you have to be able to transact with Anthropic directly at some point. You know, even if it's just for a portion of whatever it is you're trying to do. And if that's the case, then there's definitely room for there to be more necessity for a frictionless, free to transact stablecoin kind of thing for agent to agent interaction. Because something might only cost a penny's worth of whatever, but you know, than 3 cents to send it or whatever, you know, whatever the thing is. I know those are just arbitrary numbers, but it's the same dilemma that having a stable coin on Bitcoin had, you know, OmniLayer. It cost $8 to move a dollar, right? Or something like that. Did it require, um, before I talk out of my ass, I'm pretty sure it used Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it had to. OmniLayer, you paid the fees to send stable coins in Bitcoin, correct? Let's look it up. Yes, I figured, but I just want to double check. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. And even if it's like, well, microtransactions are 10 cents, right? Or whatever you want to, whatever constitutes a microtransaction. Because you think at some point in time, an AI might, in an algorithm sense, in an algorithmic sense, it might pay the cost up front and then try to front you the cost later. And that might mean a task being broken down into 1,000 steps, it requiring an AI to know and perform all 1,000 of these steps, and then compensating itself later as it passes the information to the next AI. You get what I'm saying? Like it took this AI $300 worth of APIs and tokens to make this decision or to write this line of code. Now you can have it, but we want you to pay a portion of it until the thing's paid in full. You know what I mean? And in that sense, like you could see a future where I don't know what constitutes a microtransaction, but where an AI having to access an edge or an endpoint that has to require access to a frontier model like Mythos or whatever the fuck, if that is a frontier model, whatever. And then the AI basically comes up with a scheme to compensate itself for its cost or the cost of doing business or whatever. If that makes, I'm sure that makes sense, right? And that being said means that the agent-to-agent interaction is going to be basically a swarm of agents all trying to compensate themselves for delivering you a finished product that they completed at an earlier date. It might not be that exactly in the future, but you can see how there's going to be some of that. I can't carry anymore. With the level of chicanery, dude, without getting putting people's names out there and stuff, it's weird that I keep seeing this goddamn pink robot chick on like 100 different other projects. Now I can't say it's a completely original idea because you've seen the shit in that movie Megan or whatever, but talk about like you're trying to drive somebody else's car. Like where the fuck did this start is the question. Like where did this thing start is what I want to know. But you see like a whole bunch of people driving these mock-ups that kind of look like it, right? And you're like, did these guys? That's what sometimes it gets so hard to discern the bullshit from the reality of it all. That, like, I don't think they're all working together. Are these guys? A lot of these guys really just rip-off artists? I guess I don't know. But I see the usual suspects with it, and it makes me worry. That's all. When I see like 500 or 600 people watch a live stream and not one person's buying the token, I'm like, yeah, something didn't go according to plan somewhere for someone. Awesome. Fucking awesome. Let's just help this guy escape from Firewing Point real quick. Actually, let's just fucking warp slicer. Leave me the fuck alone, please. Oh. Would you please quit attacking me? I'm trying to get somewhere where the shit will leave me alone for a second. There's a safe spot somewhere. Okay, let's hope this part is where they don't bother me. I'll be right back. Just timing. Just have to fight my way to that guy there. Oh, I got fucking squirrel meat in my bags and shit. Fucking firewing signets. God damn it. I'm just trying to get to this part here. I have to fight my way there, run uphill. But we're kind of hoping and praying that something happens eventually. Is this the fucking quest that I'm doing right now? The fuck was that about? I fucking... What? So there's nothing what? Escape from firing point. Is there normally like somebody in this cage here? Oh. I guess so. And let's look it up on the internet. Yeah, there's normally some guy in this cage. Somebody's doing the quest currently. Gotta give it a second. Good, I need a second to fucking hang out and not have to think so hard. the fuck?
Goddess, bless you. May the stars guide you.
Let's do this shit. Let's do this shit. How'd you get in this cage?
Greetings.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, Kimosabi.
I can't carry you anymore.
All the parking spaces are numbered in hexadecimal. Right. There'll be strict penalties for those who violate. Right.
What brings I am honored. Having nothing better to do.
Yeah, no, I don't. Are you talking shit to me? The person who just let you out of that cage made of bamboo these goddamn pagans put you in? Really?
That still recharges me. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast it. That still recharges me.
Idiot. It's gonna rain outside, dude. It's fucking dark and shitty looking. I gotta get up in a few hours to get to the store. It's like raining. I'm like, whatever. Gotta get some tape from Walmart.
Be gone. It's not ready yet. I can't cast that. That spell isn't ready yet. That still recharges me. I can't cast that. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that. That spell isn't ready yet. That still recharges me. That spell isn't ready yet. That still recharges me. I can't cast that. That spell isn't ready yet.
Yeah, I think we should all have a fucking Captain Phillips moment. And get these goddamn Nigerians off our boat. Really, is what I feel about it. Not the actual, like, you know what I mean. The hypothetical, the hypothetical Nigerians. He's like, this boat belongs to me now, right? Oh, are you fucking serious? Are you not shooting me? Are you? That's what they're trying to do.
I am honored. Greetings. Peace be with you. The loom be with you. Push me, Galbir. Having nothing better to do.
A little 65.
I can't cast that. That still recharges me. I can't cast that. That still recharges me. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that. That spell isn't ready yet. That still recharges me. I can't cast that. Out of range.
It's awful nice of these guys to not be fucking like, we're all trying to get some shit down here, guy. You know, good experience for griefing me.
That spell isn't getting it. That's still recharging. That spell isn't getting it. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't getting it. Inventory is full. What brings you here? I can't cast that yet. Research. Still recharging.
Cool. Can we complete the goddamn quest, please? Do we finish? Bless thee be alone or whatever. Am I still in the queue for instances? I sure as shit am. No, I'm not. Let's just finish quests. I don't really feel like dealing with a bunch of fucking Chinese people giving you a hard time about shit. Huh.
That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't getting it. That's still recharging. I can't cast that yet. I can't carry anymore.
I can't carry anymore. I should really fucking empty my bags out here today sometime. God damn it.
Still recharging. That's still recharging.
What are we doing today?
Still recharging. I can't cast that. That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging. That spell isn't letting me. I can't cast that. That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging. That spell isn't letting me.
I have to make a moat extractor on my mage to try and farm moats.
I can't cast that. That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. I can't cast that. Inventory is full. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging. Accounting. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. I can't cast that. It's too far away. That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me. That's still recharging.
All right, now bone chewer.
Still recharging. That spell isn't letting me. I can't cast that. Mercy? That's still recharging. I can't cast that. That spell isn't letting me.
Shit. now. Done a whole shitload of quests here. Gotta get one person here. Wish I had someone to fucking hang out with, dude. God damn it. Like all this random fucking bird feathers and garbage stuff. Breathing a water potion. Am I gonna be able to actually do this quest and get the fuck out of this place for good, please?
What brings you here? I'm listening.
Do we have a wand that's an upgrade? Nope. I bet haste on a Shadow Priest is super awesome. What could possibly increase their damage more? Because their Mind Flay can't crit. You know what I mean? The only thing that like make their fucking shit channel faster.
What brings you here?
Okay, well we completed both of those. We're gonna go to here. tired. I need to sleep. I didn't sleep for shit yesterday. It's probably take like an entire day off. I'd sleep for nothing. Is that everything? I guess so. Now where's repair? Sell this shit. Whatever. Cool. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna log for a little while. Maybe there'll be more to do here in a little bit. Seems like everybody's offline, not really hearing from anyone. Got that round of quests done, so log out in the innkeeper, whatever you call it. Seems like, I guess there's not one here.